It's 11:34, 12th of September 2023, and I call this City of Laredo Veterans Affairs Committee to order. All right. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Please remain standing. Mr. Alvarez, can we have the prayer?
Gentlemen on cover, since that yesterday was 9/11, we pay tribute. Heavenly Father, we humbly beseech Thee, bless those that are assembled. We pray for your guidance in our deliberations, that we may exemplify the principles and purposes of our tasks. There's much to be done, so we pray your blessings. Be our silent, watchful guardian. Like the breeze through the trees, like the sun through the sky, we ask your protection and guidance. Bless us with your presence, assist us with your counsel, and make this our sacred mission to honor those who selflessly gave without hesitation. Let their service and sacrifice not have been in vain. We associate ourselves to recognize a worthwhile endeavor to preserve the memory of those who sacrificed to guarantee the life, liberty, freedoms, and justice for all. As we stand in reverence, let us remember the good we have done and ask for forgiveness for what we have failed to do. As those who fought and died for us in the past, present, and in the future, let us not forget the POWs, MIAs, and the KIAs. We consecrate our fellowship to remind us of those who made the ultimate sacrifice and to make this land of the free because of the brave. Sanctify us with the strength of your love, protect us with the power of your hand, and direct us with the wisdom of your ways of everlasting peace on earth. As we separate and go our separate ways, we commit our souls to thee. And from the tears, our fears, our feelings, to the pride that we share, our fears, we hopes, our dreams, to our disappointments in reality. The world has changed while we were away. Our innocence was lost. As our intent to save the world, we answered the nation's call. With the badge of honor we wear with pride, we did what we could as our country asked without regrets. We entered the duty to serve our country. We didn't notice the expiration date. There was none. Our comrades, our brothers in arms, who didn't come back, we remember them, often with pain. It doesn't get easy. As we try to be brave, we toast to the mothers of love, for there's no comparison. There's no love greater than those who give their lives for God and country. We remember with a tear and a smile. We know they did their best. And for something worth dying for, our sense of humor, our sense of duty remains through the years. Our sense of pride swells as our standards go by. Around the world, wherever we might be, our flag is our beacon, our symbol of home. And it's the rallying point we call the safe zone, our base, our home, the land of the free, because of the brave. God bless America. Let the service, sacrifice, and suffering not have been in vain. Amen?
You may be seated. So now we're going to take a coffee break. Marshall, can we have roll call?
Yes, sir. Okay, Ms. Cigarroa, she's on her way. she accidentally went to City Hall. Ms. Perez,
Here.
Mr. Agdegano, American Legion. Black Widow, Montse Mesalinas. I haven't seen it, Mesalinas. Catholic War Veterans, Mr. Segovia. Disabled American Veterans, Mr. Contreras. Korean War Veterans, Mr. Sanchez. LULAC, Council 777.
Present.
Marine Corps League, Mr. Alvarez.
Present?
South Texas, Afghanistan, Iraqi Veterans, Mr. Gabriel Lopez. Is he online? Is he online? Albert? He is? Okay. Texas Military Department Soldiers and Families Readiness, Mr. Quijano. Texas Veterans Commission. Laredo, VA Laredo Outpatients Clinic. Valor, I spoke with him this morning. He's very sick. He won't be able to show up. Veterans of Foreign Wars, Mr. Sanchez. Okay. Webb County Service Office, Mr. Garza. I just received a phone call. He's very busy. Will not be able to show up, Mr. Vela. You do
Okay.
have a quorum.
Thank you, Marshal. We'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. We have a motion and a second.
Second?
Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Motion passes. Marshal, we have citizens' comments. Do we have anybody to stand up?
Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Sanchez, you wanted to say a few words? Right, he's-
My name is Ernesto Sanchez. There are so many things to cover, but one thing I would like to cover right now is that no name should be changed for any street. Some years ago, two councilmen came to us that they wanted to change a part of the loop in Matamoros. And 49 voted yes, and I voted no. And then we had a discussion, and it was decided that it's wrong. They want to change maybe San Dario, San Jose, whatever. It is wrong. We should name new streets. I talked to Mr. Jimenez that I wanted to change a little block, Milk Street. Mr. Jimenez told me that it was appropriate because there are two sections, one in the Chacon and one on the other side. And when they call Milk Street, some go this way, and by the time they get to the other side, the guy probably already died, whatever. And Mr. Jimenez, I would like to pull that back. It's only one block and the people did not like it. If you want to change San Dario or something else, have you talked to the people on that street?
No, sir.
Okay. If you want to change, I'll give you a suggestion. In front of Sanchez, put Ernesto Sanchez and see how they will like it. But that was named after the founder of the city. And nobody has the right to rename things. So I was upset when they wanted to change 35, but they didn't know about it, so, okay. I'll leave you with this thing. Our city is gonna grow. There will be a lot of streets. Name them after them, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Anybody else, Marshal?
Anyone else want to say a few words?
Only on the update,
On the what, sir?
update on the plan.
Oh, yes, sir.
Hello, bueno,
Good morning, Jesus Segovia for the record. Councilman Gutierrez gave me an update as far as our Vietnam Veterans Plaza next door. We are in the second phase, and as we speak, they just poured cement this morning on that circular section where we're gonna have the picnic tables, and there's gonna be a monument in the middle of that. I have a picture of that cement if we can put it on. No? If it's possible, if not. Aquí. Okay. ¿Dónde está? It's not very clear, but anyway, as you can see, it's a circular cement where we're going to have picnic tables around it. Right in the center, there's going to be a monument and also some flags. The Public Works has already started on the front section of the. They already have the sketches and everything as to what the front of the plaza is going to look like. So we are coming along on that project, and hopefully, maybe for the following year we can have a budget so we can put the soft walking on the material on the walking trail, and hopefully, maybe God willing, we can probably have this by Veterans Day. I'll keep you updated on it as as Councilman Gutierrez keeps me updated on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Segovia. Let me follow up on Mr. Sanchez's comments on the changing of streets or buildings or whatever the case might be. I want to thank the City Council for reconsidering taking away the Purple Heart Trail that was dedicated back in 2006. But I also agree the fact that what we have is historical in our city, regardless what part of the city it's at. And it was named for different reasons back when it was named. And I think that the procedure should be in naming new streets, new buildings, or whatever the case might be, like you had suggested, Councilmember Perez. It is something else that probably has not enter anybody's mind, but the cost that will cost all those people that live in those streets, especially the businesses that have letterheads and so on and so forth. I mean, it will cause a tremendous amount of problems when you have a street change like that, and the money that is being spent in order to upgrade everything at the businesses and the homeowners for that fact. So again, I just like to say that I concur with Mr. Sanchez in the thinking of City Council to rethink whenever they're thinking about changing any structure or any street in the city of Laredo. Anybody else, Marshall?
Mr. Agreda.
Yes,
Not only the residents, but the post office also be affected.
absolutely. I mean, it just affects a lot of people. I have a business in Del Rio, Texas, and that happened over there. And let me say that the change was towards the military. They changed it to Veterans Boulevard, but it still caused a lot of problems. It's not whether they're going to benefit any organization or any one individual. It's the problems that you cause to the people that have been sustaining that community for many, many years in the form of taxes and providing jobs and things like that. So you're right, Mr. Grano. It's a lot of logistics involved when there's a change like that, especially in the street. Anybody else?
Sir, I just want to make it clear when Mr. Sanchez brought it up to me, it just brought back memories when I used to work on the ambulance, and we have Monterrey Street, Monterrey Avenue, and then you respond to a location and you say, we're on scene, but in reality, it's another Monterrey Street. So when he brought it up, I'm like, you know what, this is a good idea, but I only know about two, Monterrey Street, Monterrey. He's a mailman, so he knows all the streets. Okay, so then I thought it was a good idea at the time, but I'm sure with technology these days, those mistakes should not be happening. So That's why I told Mr. Sanchez, I kinda liked it.
Well, it merits, it has some sense to it
Mhm.
because of the emergency. And I know that, in the county, when I was a county commissioner, we have a lot of streets that the emergency vehicles having a hard time to find in the county area because they're not named. And I suggested that we name them with the precinct in mind, so that way at least the emergency vehicle would know which way to go, which direction, whether to go north, south, west, or east. Right now, if you don't really know the area, you don't know where to go, and sometimes the GPS or the addresses are not updated by Google, and they'll send you somewhere else.
That happened to me, Saturday, going to your ranch.
Yes?
We went out there,
Yeah.
to pick up Romo, and I put, his address on my GPS, and I parked outside his house where he told me that that's where he lived, and, I called Romo, I said, hey, I'm outside, he said, well, where are you? I said, I'm over here, he said, no, go 2 more blocks right, take a right, and because I also use the GPS to get back to my house, so.
Yeah, there is a problem with the Google Maps and the GPSs, and sometimes it's not updated, and we do have that problem at the ranch also. And it's a travesty because if you call 911, they're gonna go to a different place, in my case, at the ranch. And so I know it happens in every community in the United States and probably the world. So it does cause a lot of inconvenience in the logistic area. But again, I want to thank the city council for reconsidering.
Another thing,
Yes, sir.
the post office went through a change with the city planners because the numbers were different. You had east and west, and the number started in the middle, which was wrong. Instead of the emergency vehicle going to the east, they would go to the west. So they had to renumber. It was called the 911 renumbering system. Example, 1472. Farm Road 1472 is Mines Road. So they had to renumber the Mines Road area, and I was delivering the Mines Road area. But thanks to that, the emergency vehicles got a number on GPS instead of a name of the street and trying to find the address.
Yeah, there is still a lot of work needs to be done with the Google Map system, and obviously we here at this committee is our goal is to improve the quality of life for our veterans, and at the same time the rest of the community. But again, we thank the action that the city council took. Mr. Marshall, anything else?
No,
Anybody else?
I think that's it for that, sir.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, we have comments and communications and announcements, and I think we pretty much covered everything in that section, unless there's somebody else that would like to say something about that.
There's that item I told you, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to cover that before we went to the items. The chair will entertain an item to move up item number 3
So
on the
moved.
agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, and I need light because there's not enough light here for me anyway. Discussion with possible action by the Director of Community Development, Tina Martinez, regarding the tiny homes project and any matters incident thereto. Ms. Martinez?
Yes, good afternoon. Tina
Good
Martinez,
afternoon.
Director for Community Development for the City of Laredo. Thank you for inviting us, myself and Marcela Cervantes, she's my Programs Administrator. Thank you for inviting us to this committee and to talk about this project. So the tiny home, and we still don't have a proper name for it, but we're calling it tiny home homeless community, homeless veterans community. We are proposing to use the city property around Lafayette in District 8. So back in 2021, our department was approached by the city, and I believe it came from this committee as well, the potential to identify a property owned by the city that could possibly house homeless veterans, and how we could develop, a little maybe area for them, a village, and I know at that time it was proposed that there was going to be some possible donations of of some properties, of some little tiny homes. So fast forward to now, the city is still interested. The city has developed something, and I can share what I have a preliminary design of what it's going to look like. But as of right now, we are doing it with some home grants that we received for homeless initiatives. And so we are going to tackle on this great need in our community and try to house homeless veterans. But I can show you what we're proposing to do. So we identified there were three and a half lots that the city owned already, and with our engineering department, we've basically designed what this site might look like. We've secured the funding, and we're hoping in the next 3 months to finish the design and to be out for bid to construct everything that you see here, because right now it is basically undeveloped land. So we would be constructing a community room, some parking, and then we would be constructing the homes from ground up. So we are still committed to move this project forward. And I think as part of a city's, community development, takes everything into account: homeless, veterans, low-income housing, just different types of aspects. And we do feel that this is an area that is in much need. I do hope that in the future I will be reaching out to many of the veterans communities, because to make this a reality, this type of project, I will need commitments from different organizations to be able to provide some veteran support services. I am creating this great community room, but I'm gonna need the partnerships to come in, and we're committed to operate them and manage the units, but we do need the community and the veterans community to come in, because if we house homeless veterans, we want to make them successful, and we want to ensure that they receive all the services they need. So that is our vision. That is part of the project that we've been developing. We will be, of course, with this type of project, we do foresee needing, again, some veteran services that can be provided on site, some financial assistance, because what we've encountered when we assist homeless veterans get housed is that transition period where they might, go from the streets to a home. They're gonna need to establish an address and residency, so their benefits sometimes don't kick in right away. So we are gonna foresee the need of, the light, the water, the utilities being paid there. So I will be reaching out to other communities and other committees and other organizations to see how they can bridge that gap. The third thing that we also see whenever we house homeless veterans in our community is the need for furnishings. They're homeless veterans, so they're not gonna have a bed. They're not gonna have some of these, essentials that anybody else would have in their home, in a brand new apartment. So those are some of the three items that we think we're gonna possibly be coming back to this committee and to other organizations to see how we can better make this successful. Because to make this successful, it's not just gonna be build them and get them leased up. It's gonna take, a village, a community. Any questions?
What is the square footage?
But for the record, Ms. Segovia?
No, my question was, what is the square footage of these tiny homes, and how many people can occupy it?
So we're planning to build them, again, as a tiny property, so that we can be able to fit as many properties or little homes as we can. So we're estimating about 350 to 380 square feet right now. That is typically what we've been doing, in apartment complexes, in other scenarios where we've been trying to really maximize space. That is what we're looking at. But it would be for a small family of either one or two people. This will be for like small family. I'm not gonna, overcrowded with like a family of 4. We would try to find other areas to house them in that scenario. But this would be like a single or a family of 2, a household of 2 or a household of 1. But we are foreseeing building all the amenities in there, you know, the shower, the restroom, all in that area. Any other questions?
Chair, Mr. Chair, this is Gabriel Lopez.
Yeah, Mr. Lopez, go ahead.
Texas Afghanistan and Afghanistan Association. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Mr. Lopez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
What is your question, please?
Yeah, I have a question for the lady, there at the.
Ms.
podium.
Martinez.
Got her name. The initial funding is coming from where, and what will be the continuing funding coming from? Where will that be coming from?
So, so the city of Laredo owns the property already, and we are foreseeing to use what's called home ARP funds, ARP funds. It's a special grant that the city received to fund homeless initiatives in the community. And this would be a perfect example of what we could use these funds for. Now, longevity, long-term, I will, so there has to be a sustainable factor to be able to operate these units. The fund right now, there is a potential to have some supportive services funding, but it's only going to be short-term. So that is where I truly believe that the community needs to come in. And again, a lot of the issue we're seeing with homeless veterans is not a lack of funding. Sometimes it's a lack of affordable housing. So they'll have a VASH voucher sometimes with them. They'll have their benefits, and they're able to pay a rent. They're just not enough housing out there right now for them, and especially when it's what we've discovered with homeless veterans is that usually it's a small household of one or two, and there is a big need for single family, like one bedroom units in our community. So sometimes these vouchers sit there, or the person sits there trying to find a unit that will take them. And of course, the homeless, and just with any homeless household that you're trying to house, the biggest issue sometimes is there's no credit score, there's other impediments to their housing. So we're hoping that this community can gap that, and then possibly from there, you know, we can use it as a transitional, you know, so that way they can end up going to somewhere more permanent. I hope that answered your question.
So Martinez, you spoke about short-term and transitional. Do you have a number of what's the length of the time period that they can stay in those homes?
So the grant we just received was awarded to us in July. So right now, in the same time that we are designing the homes, we are also designing our policy. So there is definitions based on our HUD grant that will determine what is short-term and what is transitional. So usually short-term, and I'm just talking about usually in the HUD world, short-term could be anywhere from 6 months. But I just want to make sure that our policy, we're going to ensure that our policy, one, meets the requirements from the grant, and two, our community need. So we will be looking at both those definitions and making sure that they make sense for our community.
So this committee and other groups and organizations have been speaking about tiny homes and help for the homeless for a very long time. And there's been studies and data that has supported the fact that there are some veterans that are homeless that do not want to be helped. You're proposing that they're going to be paying rent, am I correct?
Correct.
What if you find a homeless veteran that really can't afford to pay the rent, but they're willing to try a transition period and become viable citizens of the community? Would you consider in your policy making that maybe you can do something in a barter, or have a homeless veterans occupy one of these homes and do some work for the city in lieu of rent, or something along those lines?
So I think, well, that's where we've been discussing, and in developing this project, all these questions have come to light, because we are right now assisting homeless veterans housed. So we realize what the barriers are and what sometimes their reluctancy to enter into any program or assistance is. But that's where I really truly believe that committees like this and organizations that the city cannot do everything. We will need to partner up with the right agencies, with the right organizations to ensure that this is a success. So when it comes down to financials, we will see how much of a time our program can sustain. Maybe a month or two transition of a very low rent, but there has to be something that that ensures that our operations also can maintain, the operations of the unit. So again, when the city manages housing, affordable housing, we're not there to make a profit. We're just there to make sure that we are sustainable. And a lot of communities that fail in transitional housing or homeless programs is the sustainability of a program. If we're not, if there's no revenue, so someone has to compensate that revenue. But those are definitely all considerations that we've looked at. And I truly believe that our community can step up and find ways to assist those veterans in paying for those operations.
Ms. Albert?
Yes, I was homeless in San Antonio. A cop pulled me over because I was sleeping behind a gas station so I could use the bathroom. He said, "Don't move, stay here, we'll help you." He was a veteran. He suggested I go and register with the VRE. That's a veterans program that trains you and pays you while you're in training. And with that pay, you're able to pay for your rent. So I can help you if you get hold of me.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what the details were.
Definitely, and that's why I say the partnerships that we establish from today forward will assist that this project be successful, because it's gonna take, a lot of creativity from our community to ensure that we can, house veterans and house our homeless.
It's a turnaround. It's guarantees that you're gonna be trained in a job, and it pays you while you're going through the training, and that money, you can start paying your own way. And the food bank will start you off with food the day one. You register, and there's no excuse not to take it.
Yeah,
And we'll talk.
yeah,
Well,
definitely.
along those lines, and you spoke about the help that is going to be provided to the veterans or the homeless, but it's not only just the homeless, there's a lot of veterans that need help also. Now, along those lines, this committee has taken an issue and speaking multiple times about building or having a one-stop shop type location where a veteran can go in there and be able to take care of multiple issues that they might be encountering. For instance, I know Ms. Ramirez is probably going to have something to say about this in one of the other items. But if we can have the different organizations under one roof, where a veteran, whether it be homeless or not, can go in there and take care of multiple issues, would be great. And hopefully, this committee, along with the help of the city and county government, we can achieve that and be able to have one location where multiple issues can be addressed by the veterans, regardless of the
That's
subject.
definitely something that I'll take back to our thinking, our development area. We'll definitely talk. I know I've heard the council speak on in those terms also of having a one-stop area for all veterans. But we'll definitely, I don't think this area is going to be big enough. That community room is going to be very small.
It is a very nice rendering.
Yes, but definitely we can look at what other avenues are out there for our homeless, for our veterans community. Now, I do want to mention one more thing. These will be homeless veterans preference, because that is how the grant came in. But I do want to let everyone know that, so the city of Laredo does, under my department, we do operate and over 600 housing units for the city. So city does own other affordable and attainable housing. Not all have restrictions on income. So we do have, and we have an established, by council, we have an established preference for veterans. So you don't have to, homeless veterans. Well, it's also homeless veterans. But we also have a waiting list, for anybody in our community that is wanting to look for decent and safe housing. But again, we also have that. That's why we've kind of walked into the world of knowing, and some other committees that speak very closely with the homeless veterans community, and we see that there's not enough housing out there. But again, I encourage everyone to call our municipal housing division and put themselves on a waiting list if it's a veteran, if it's a community looking for affordable housing.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions by anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Quijano.
Ricardo Quijano, for the record, and I just want to say that thank Ms. Director Tina Martinez and Ms. Cervantes for doing this, because it's been a long road, a long journey, and something that she said caught my attention. The city of Laredo can't do everything, and she's going to go out and ask for assistance from organizations and others. And I want to make a pledge, and we should all make a pledge here as veteran organizations, that every organization that's here should support one house and give the assistance. Because we're not here we're here, it's like, what can we get? What can we get? It shouldn't be like that, gentlemen and councilwomen. It's about also, it's that we need this, we need that. It's about also helping our fellow brothers and sisters. And if we all sponsor one house, it should help the veteran plus the community. Each organization that's listed should be able to sponsor one house. Because we're not, in Spanish, rastrillos, right? You know, just what is it for me? You know, veterans just taking. We're better than that. And we should be giving back to the community. And Ms. Martinez, I think we should, you know, put something, council members, put something in the agenda where we need to give back to the community. And I'm saying it enough times so every organization can go back to their members and ask for this. That's my only comment.
Thank you, Mr. Quijano, great idea.
Tina, if you can get with me, I'll give you all the details that I had to go through.
Yes, I will.
Crystal, we're gonna ask for your support, because part of this mental health has to go through the VA. If they're veterans, they have to go through the VA. That's what we had to go through to have that talk, to make it whole, not just hear something and then go to work. Has to go out here first, so they get the idea that they're working for something for
Correct.
them.
Yes.
Mr. Quijano just said. Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, thank you.
Martinez, thank you very much for your presentation. Unless we have somebody else. It is a very, very nice rendering, like I said, and we can actually start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And speaking of mental health, we are recognizing Mental Health Month this month, so, and suicide prevention. Next item on the agenda is a VFW representative about an MIA Korean War soldiers' remains found and will be laid to rest on October the 14th, 2023. Who has that, Mr. Quijano? Mr. Quijano?
Good afternoon, Chairman. Is it possible we can do item 6, number 4? It's also by me, so we can get these gentlemen, service members out of here.
Motion to move up, item 4, communication.
We have a motion, do we have a second? We have a
Second.
second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Go ahead, Mr. Quijano.
Good afternoon, Chairman and council members, committee members. Today, I want to introduce service members that are in Camp Walker as to what they do. And, well, before I keep going, I want to introduce them. Gentlemen? Just what you do. Just wait for Mark. Yep, yes, sir.
Hey, good morning, everyone, council members, fellow members of the committee, fellow citizens. My name is Major Jonathan Bracewell. First off, I want to thank you for inviting me and my team here. It's a testament to the welcoming atmosphere that we have all experienced being a part of Laredo here. I am one of several commanders on the mission known as Operation Lone Star. Our mission here is to support Governor Abbott's initiative to protect Texas communities like Laredo from the harmful effects of illegal immigration. Specifically, we partner with local and state law enforcement agencies to help keep this community safe. Governor Abbott began this initiative in 2021, and it is not yet known how long the governor will ask us to continue to serve our communities. And I say our community because more than half of my team has lived in Laredo for more than 1 year now. Many of us have made this community our home. We work here, yes, but we also enjoy entertainment and recreation here. We attend worship services here. We enjoy the amazing restaurants and food that Laredo has to offer, some of us more than we should probably. But importantly, we enjoy meeting the kind and welcoming people of this community. And I would like to sincerely thank all of you for the warmth that my team has been shown since arriving here in Laredo. Our commitment to you is to honor our pledge to keep this community safe and to continue the Texas National Guard's longstanding reputation as Texans serving Texas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Major.
Yeah, I'm Command Sergeant Major Warfield. I'm the Task Force Center Command Sergeant Major. I'm Major Bracewell's counterpart. So thanks. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Quijano?
All right. Yes, sir.
Is there a way they could stay for the next presentation from Mr. Cabildo? So they could
Yes.
stand by?
Yeah. Gentlemen, you mind staying a little bit more? So the presentation by the VA, which y'all would benefit y'all. So these service members here that I just came represent our country and our state and what they're doing to protect our nation, our state, and our community. Not only that, but they also bring a positive economic presence to our community. I went to Camp Walker last week to see what they're doing, and as an organization also from the VFW, we're gonna try to do something, activities for them, because what I'm worried about is their mental health state, that they work and then what is there to do also. So I started compiling resources, parks, tennis courts, pools, recreational activities, theaters, bowling alleys, and so forth, which I'm going to give it to them so they can know exactly, what's in our community. If we could help them as a city also, and have them, discover Laredo, and when they go back home, they have a positive feeling of what Laredo is about, such as sporting events. I also put it Laredo Heat. Every service member and veteran +1 goes in free, right? Children under 12 wearing a red shirt go in free. But how about Los Tecos, all right? How about giving them the suites? I know some council members give out the suites, and we thank you to the veterans. But to be honest, more enjoyable it would be for those gentlemen that can get those suites. Maybe we can get the city manager, to me, they're the ones that deserve it. Giving them assistance such as, making it fun for them and having that positive image of Laredo at the same time. And that's why I wanted to introduce what they bring to Laredo, but also when they leave, give them that, sense of feeling that they're loved and wanted here in our community. All right, that's all I have to say. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Quijano.
No? All right.
So, Mr. Quijano, do you want to speak about the MIA Korean War soldier?
I thought it was as well. It's a, this is through the BFW and a status update, Chairman. Can y'all see? It's the same one. Elmo? Is it Elmo on? No. While they get on it, I'm gonna go ahead and let you all know it's a status update. As you know, Sergeant Crescenciano Garcia Jr., Korean War veteran. The funeral is still on for October 14th. Funeral home will be Joe Jackson Funeral Home, which would be taking care of Sergeant Garcia Jr. Church, it's going to be St. Joseph Catholic Church, and then he's going to be taken to the Calvary Catholic Cemetery. Just last week, a Texas Casualty Assistance Officer has been assigned here in Texas, and it's my understanding the person is from Fort Sam Houston. Rolando Vera, also the nephew, person in charge, also stated that there's going to be an 8-person honor guard detail that will be present to do his funeral service and honor guard. We also met with Councilwoman Alicia, city managers Jose Valdez, Steve Landin, Webb County VSO, Rolando Vera, Senior Vice Commander Jaime Mendiola, and they opened the doors, their arms, anything that we need from fire department, from the city, from police, that they're going to be there to assist because it's going to be such a big event. Sergeant Crescenciano Garcia Jr., as you know, been gone for 73 years, is finally coming home. And through the process of DNA, that's why he's coming home, and he's going to be laid to rest next to his mom and father at the Calvary Catholic Cemetery. Also, venue has been assigned also for family members after the proceedings. They could go and eat, and they could go back home. Most of them, they're also coming from out of town for the funeral. And lastly, family invites all veterans organizations, and the community, if they can go and pay their respects and honor the life of POW, MIA, Sergeant Crescenciano Garcia Jr. That is it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a question. Do you have flyers of this event that we can?
Yes, I do have. I'll pass out the flyer. The only thing, the time is still not given. Councilwoman Perez. Once the CAC officer, Casualty Assistance Officer, starts making those details, we're going to be able to know the time. But certainly, the date, it's October 14th.
Oh, I was just gonna say we can share it. We can send it to the city, have them put it on the website that we have for veterans, and then maybe even share it to the social media so people can.
Yes, ma'am. I'll email.
Thank you.
Who do I email it to, ma'am?
And you could just send it to Marshall Jimenez.
Marshall?
And then he'll disseminate it out.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll get that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Llano.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments or questions on this item?
Yes.
Go ahead. Mr. Alvarez.
This veteran, Korean War veteran, should be honored by the Korean War Veteran Association that we have here in Laredo, Mr. Sanchez.
What was your question?
Microphone.
¿Qué me dice?
Wait. Mr. Sanchez, can the Korean War veterans be present?
I am sorry, I'm hard of hearing, but
Can the Korean War veterans be present?
the first thing I want to say, I want to thank Mr. Quijano and the BFW for taking this project. We Korean War veterans are very few. There's only 3 of us that can walk. So we want to thank Mr. Quijano and everybody who's helping. Crescenciano Garcia was a very close friend of mine. He lived 3 blocks from me. And his mother used to come to us and ask, Cuando traerán a Chanito, and thank God he's coming home. I knew him very well. When he was ready to go to Korea, I saw him go, and thank God we found him. Again, I want to thank you all for helping on this project. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Any other questions or comments?
Alfredo Agredano for the record. If I'm not mistaken, sir, and I stand to be corrected, I know that all the military services are going to be handled by Fort Sam Houston.
Yes, sir.
Fort Sam Houston is going to take care of everything, sir. We would like for the different veteran organizations to be present at the time of the funeral, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agredano.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a discussion about this in the last meeting, that it is being handled by Fort Sam Houston, and obviously all the organizations, all the veterans would like to be able to honor Sergeant Garcia in our own ways, but the agenda is being handled by Fort Sam Houston. Any other comments or questions?
It would just be appropriate for the Korean War.
It would be, but like I said, we have no control over this. Second item on the agenda, we have Crystal Cabillo of the VA Department of Outpatient Clinic, walk-in process, urgent care facilities, travel pay process, community care vouchers, and disability placards.
Yes, hi,
Maria?
good morning. My
Morning.
name's Crystal Cabito for the record. I am the representative for the VA clinic here in Laredo, and I have with me Mr. Patrick Cole. He is the chief for our clerks, our drivers, our pay, our travel pay. So he is here also from headquarters to answer any questions that has to do with the pay. There's a couple items that I wanted to bring up during this meeting since I wasn't here last meeting, and I think and I just spoke to Mr. Jimenez that have probably, if okay with you being first on the agenda, to put out this information for everybody, because majority, if they leave, then they won't know the information we're putting on the events that are coming up. So if that's okay, I would like to be the first one on the agenda for everybody to be aware of that. Starting with what I have, it's the walk-ins. I know that a lot of times the veterans go into the clinic and as a walk-in, and the expectations is to be seen right away. Unfortunately, the way that we have our walk-ins, it's whatever spots are available within the providers. The providers already have a full schedule, so you are gonna be seen. It varies on the days if the provider has a cancellation or not. However, we do have urgent care that is available. We have about five or six urgent cares that are available for any veteran that wants to go instead of doing a walk-in into our clinic, and that is fully covered. There is a website, and we also have handouts in the clinic, so you guys could be able to go to urgent care instead of doing a walk-in in our clinic. So that is 100% for you, and both of our hospitals, LMC, and doctors is also contracted with us. Just make sure that you show your military ID and you tell them that you're a veteran, so that way you are not billed. If you are billed, you could always bring the bill to us, and then we could have community care look at it. So that would be one. You could also go to My Healthy Vet if it's just a prescription that you need, your medication that you need to get a refill. You could do it on My Healthy Vet. You could communicate with your team through My Healthy Vet. Right now, unfortunately, our lines are down. Our phone lines, AT&T has been working on them for the last 3 days, but our phone lines are down. So we are asking that if you're calling, to call the 956-291-9000. That is our headquarters, but the Laredo Clinic phone lines have been down, so we are working on that with AT&T. Community care, a lot of the veterans go through community care with a voucher. What is happening, we've seen the trend right now, is that the vouchers are either expired or the doctor doesn't have the voucher. We do have a community care department in our clinic. I always advise all veterans to either call your doctor, whatever specialist you're going to, and make sure that the voucher is good and standing. And if not, come for a copy. We're able to give you a copy of that so you could have it with you. And you don't go to the appointment and then there's no voucher there for whatever reason it is, and then your appointment gets canceled. So make sure that you come in to get a copy of your vouchers, or when they call you to schedule or to make sure that you're going, that you ask them if the voucher is still good. The voucher depends on what the specialty is. It goes from 3 to 6 months. It just depends. So make sure that those vouchers are actively, that they're active or you're gonna go. We've also gotten a lot of disability plates for handicap. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the requirements have changed. So now it is a physical disability in order to get a handicap plate. It is something that the providers are working on. If you want a disabled veterans plate, that is still the same process. But if you want a handicap plate, it's no longer with PTSD. Before it was if you were over 30% or 50. If you were over 50%, regardless of what your disability is, it's no longer like that. It has to be a physical impairment for you not to be able to walk. So that might trigger for you to be able to, the providers might send you to do an actual physical, with our physical therapist to make sure that that is. So please be aware that not all, just because you got it in the past doesn't mean that you're gonna get it now. So that is something that we've seen with a lot of veterans, that they used to have the handicap plates and now they're not being approved, and that's for the same reason, because the changes have been made. Yes, sir. It just depends on to what it is. It has to be a physical impairment for you to be able to do that, and that is based on your, right. Your provider will have a discussion with you on that, and an evaluation needs to be made. They'll send you to get an evaluation made for that. Okay. Travel pay. I'm gonna have Mr. Cole talk about that.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Cole, Chief of HAS. So for those that aren't aware about Benny Travel for veterans, obviously if you are at least 30% or more, you need an appointment to get you the care you need by us picking you up to your location. Obviously, with the new congressional mandate, after your appointment, when you did your voucher, you had more than 30 days. It was roughly between 45 to 60 days. Now with the new mandate that came out effective June of this year, you have 30 calendar days to submit your voucher after your initial appointment. For those veterans that don't submit their claim within 30 days, unfortunately, we won't be able to reimburse you for your travel. Right now, there is a current backlog that we are working on, but we should have the backlog down within the end of this month. And right now, claims are being processed. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks on average from the time that you process your claim to you get paid out. Some of the issues that we have seen as to why a veteran hasn't been paid is usually because they don't put their full name. There's an issue with their date of birth, issue with their social. They did not put the right appointment day and time. So make sure when you log into either My Healthy Vet or Access VA, either your laptop or your phone, please make sure that your information is up to date. If you are a female veteran, please make sure that your name, if you're married or divorced, is up to date in our records with LSB enrollment to make sure that we can tie your name to your voucher when we do processing. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions or comments?
I still have more items real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
Since we are celebrating the mental health and suicide, so one of our local veterans, our coasters that we do for our crisis line has changed. This is the coaster design that won for our VA. I do have some coasters in the back that you guys could take with you. That was designed by one of our veterans here locally. He is a Border Patrol agent. He drew it. It's a painting that was submitted to our headquarters, and it was what's it called? a competition. He was the first one that came, and this is our new coaster design that is going to be out until the next one comes. So this is one of our local veterans. He is a veteran here and a Border Patrol agent. So I will be passing out to some of our local veteran-owned establishments here so they could have it. On the back of the coaster, you do have the veteran crisis line for all those that need it because it is suicide prevention. Some of the events that we do have a food drive this month, September 21st. That is for all veterans and service members. At our clinic, it starts at 8, from 8 to 12. It's first come, first served basis until supplies last. So that again is September 21st is our food drive. I know that we have asked about the flu. They have asked about the flu shots. We currently don't have the flu shots, but the pharmacies that are contracted with the VA can give you the flu shots for free. And there's a website for that. You just go to www.va.gov, find locations, and you'll be able to find the pharmacies that have the flu shots for all veterans that need the flu shots. Also, we do have COVID testing. COVID has been in the rise, so if you need to have COVID testing, we do it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 9:30. Please make sure you call the clinic or you come by the clinic to get scheduled for those times. We'll do the testing and then we'll give you the results within 1 or 2 days because we have to send it out. We don't have the COVID vaccine yet, as the CDC is going to meet today to approve the new vaccines. Once it's approved and we get it, we'll put it out to all the veterans that we have it available. And we are having our Veterans Day celebration November 9th. We are currently working on that. So it is already scheduled for that day. So all service members, veterans that are here, family are welcome to come to our clinic. It will be at our clinic. It will start at 9 o'clock. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Ms. Carrillo, you mentioned something about a real bill on a voucher to take it to who?
Just bring it to us and take it to the community service.
Community service.
Right. Our community department, they could look into the bills. A lot of times when you get a bill, doesn't necessarily mean that you are being billed. You're just getting a copy of what we're being billed. So that's the two different things. But we do have some veterans that get billed because they didn't present their ID and they're not aware that they're veterans, so they send it to them. But just to make sure, if you do get a bill, to bring it over and we can look at it. Our department will take care of that.
Can you speak a little bit about the PSA blood test that we spoke a couple of months ago, what the procedure is now?
So yes, we've spoke about a procedure for labs. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I did speak to our higher ups, our leadership. Any labs that you guys, any veteran wants, they are available by request. We don't have as a routine lab just because a lot of veterans might feel some type of way about that. A lot of times we have some veterans that don't want to do some labs. So, but any labs that you guys want or that you think that you should need, just talk to your provider, and it is available for your upon request, and the provider will have that conversation with you.
Mr. Chairman,
You just need to request it.
I have a question.
Yes. Hi.
So I think that, thank you for all that you do, of course, but I'd like to get a copy of the file, this file of the 988, because I know our health department is very heavily assisting to get that number out there, and I think this is a nice, beautiful poster that we could add to our displays, but also the digital file I think would be nice, so we can kind of incorporate this somehow into the website, because I don't know if you all know, but at the City of Laredo website we do have a veterans page, and so one of the things that I'm going to talk with Marshall Jimenez about after this is just kind of incorporating this design in there somehow, and then adding some links to these free flu shots and some of the VA, but also having the events that you all are advertising there and promoting it on social media. But I think that's a beautiful image, and I'd like to request the file if I can.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you. Also in the back, I have the coasters. I do have a couple pamphlets for the service members of all the services that we give here locally, how to register, how to, a lot of hyperlinks on how to do a lot of the stuff that is for the VA. So if you take a flyer, it has all the information on there. And I also have the flyer for the food drive as well back there, but I can send you the information.
And you have some posters there printed out?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else has any
Any
questions?
other questions or comments? Carrillo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we have a VFW representative about marathon in November the 5th, 2023. Well,
I believe Isabel Shroud wants to come up next, she's gotta go.
Ramirez,
I think she messaged,
Request a motion to move up my agenda, please.
okay, entertain a motion to bring up,
The calendar for the Veterans Day events.
okay, we have second and, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against nay, motion passes. Ms. Ramirez, go ahead.
Hi, everyone, Maria
Yeah,
Isabela.
discussion, let me just read the item for
Okay.
the record. Discussion with possible action by Isabel Ramirez Trout regarding the creation of a Veterans Community Calendar and any matters incident thereto. Ramirez, go ahead.
Hi, Maria Isabel Ramirez with Texas Veterans Commission. I just wanted to readdress the calendar that was suggested a while back. I know that November's 2 months from now, and I wanted to see if there was a way that we can create a calendar, a digital calendar that can be printed, and that can also allow other organizations to upload events that are going on, so we can try and avoid any duplicate events during the same time or during the same period, or so that it is aware to the veterans as well what events are going on. I know that you do have a veterans page. I don't know if it's possible to create a calendar on there where they can go into and possibly do that.
We have a new IT person. We'll check. Yes, I need to ask.
Okay.
That is something, Ramirez, that we have obviously been speaking about for a
Struggling with.
while, and it's a
Right.
monumental task. And we all know that. I don't have a magic wand that can make it happen right away, and I don't know anybody that has. We have been able to make some strides in word of mouth and speaking among each other. And some of the organizations have gone ahead and tried to do that, but you're correct, we do need a community calendar. How are we gonna go about getting it done is the real question. Because we have so many organizations that do that. And I don't have an answer for that, and maybe somebody can shed some light on how to go about being able to do that. It has been accomplished in some instances. I know we were speaking to, and I forgot who it was, and I think whether you were there, and they said, well, we're gonna change our date because of that. And how do we have a legitimate, organized, and who is gonna handle that is the issue right now. And the last time we spoke, I think the city, through some of the city members in the committee, were gonna try to see if we can help us with that.
Just to answer, we've had some difficulties. I know that we're revamping the City of Laredo website recently. We just hired an IT director. So I'm confident that he can get it done. I'll place this item for discussion on Monday's council meeting. I don't know if Councilmember Cigarroa will co-sponsor, so we can make sure that that it's a directive to the department, to the city manager to get this done by the end of this month.
And go through the IT department and everybody that would be contacting them so they can create a calendar?
Yes, sir.
Is that more or
Yeah,
less-
so that way the city knows it's a priority.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez.
Sorry, I have a question on
Any
that.
comments? Go ahead.
Comment. Crystal again. Do we have a secretary for this committee? That
don't at this
takes
time.
notes?
The
Okay,
secretary
because
that
I
we
feel
have,
like that would probably be something that we could do here, since the discussions of all the events and everything that's happening and the changes should be here, and then whoever that person might be here could send it out to that website. But if everybody's coming to this committee to present all the information and the events and everything, this is where it should be recorded versus trying to get people to send us emails and information. That's just my suggestion, coming from the administrative part of myself.
And
So,
that would be great, we just don't have the resources to do that. And because there is a lot of organizations that are not veteran organizations that we don't have access to, like the schools, the colleges, and so on and so forth, that they have their own events, for instance, Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And we have all these organizations having events, and we all wanna do it on the actual date. And so we as veterans can't really get to all of these places because most of the time, there's several that are scheduled at the same day, same time.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to accomplish, and this committee, at least I don't have the resources to be able to have a count of all these organizations that are having events on the specific date, but we're trying to see if we can have a day or 2 days later, or not schedule the same time, especially in the schools and in the colleges where they honor the veterans at the same time, same date, and they ask us to be present, and we want to be present, but we can't be at two places at the same time, or sometimes there are only half an hour between, and we have to go from South Laredo to the college, for instance. And that's why we need somebody that really has the technology to be able to account for all these different events that everybody's trying to have at the same time.
But even just the events that are presented here to the committee, that we have a consolidated calendar, because that's the starting point of having an event. So if we could just have, I mean, I volunteer myself if I need to write it in, right? But just having a calendar here locally, so when somebody comes in and talks about an event that's happening, we could just kind of write it in and then make sure that everybody that had an event to present is actually on the calendar. That's just my suggestion. Okay.
I don't know if you remember, maybe a year ago, we had a secretary, Mr. Llamas.
Yes.
He had to resign, but we need to bring it up and nominate someone.
Yeah, and we had somebody that was gonna take a position, and I don't remember exactly what happened, because we had an item in the agenda and we had to table it. It was a member from the Black Widows, I believe.
So,
But yeah, we do need to fill that opening.
It was not the Black Widows.
Huh?
For the secretary?
Whoever, I mean, we do need to have, if anybody wants to volunteer, absolutely. So let's keep that in mind for the next item,
Yes, sir.
next month.
Next meeting, we'll put it.
So thank you. Any other comments or?
Keep that in mind.
Yeah,
We'll talk
absolutely.
about it
I'm
next
gonna
meeting.
comment one thing.
Go ahead with it.
Rafa Flores, who was at your ranch the other day,
Yes.
he just opened up a Facebook page for veterans where you can go in there and announce whatever you want to announce, that's happening. So he just opened it up yesterday, and I believe the only member there right now is James Roycroft. It is a Facebook for veterans only, but perhaps if you find out something, then you can post it on there and we can pass it on to other people, other organizations. So Rafael Flores has already opened up a Facebook page. I need to find out what the name of it is, but I will pass it on.
Thank you, Mr. Segovia. That would help, no doubt about it. It is getting to the point that we do need to have something more organized. Any other comments or questions? Thank you. Mr. Quijano, your item, VFW representative about the marathon on November the 5th, 2023.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, want to share this, helping the city of Laredo promote a fully sanctioned marathon that Laredo's having. It's the first one that they're doing. I'm going to get this email and I'm going to send it to the service members. And there's also going to be another 5K, I believe, at the airport. I'm going to send it to the service members. They want to go out there and run and join the city in doing this. So this one kind of like also, the way I see it, the way the veterans, the VFW sees it, it's kind of like a kickoff to Veterans Day, since it's November 5th. We have a lot of activities going on, and I believe the city's going to need some help from organizations. The VFW is going to have, I guess, a spot where they're going to have water and give the runners with water, juice, anything they need. We're going to be there also to support the City of Laredo first fully sanctioned marathon. So that's, I just want to make it clear. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Quijano.
All righty.
Any comments or questions?
And anyone can help out also. Anyone can have a booth and give out water to the runners, since remember, it's a 26-mile run. And it's also, my understanding, it's a relay now. They're gonna put a relay, so if someone doesn't wanna do the whole 26, they can do it in buddy teams, also 13 and 13. And once I get more information, I'll distribute it out. Maybe some of the service members, younger cats, they can join. Yeah, all righty.
Don't look at me.
I know. Hey, hey. Us is probably gonna be like a 26 relay.
Hey, we're trying to see if we can get oxygen on that trail that we're gonna be building. We're gonna have oxygen at every station. The next item on the agenda is discussion with possible action by Guadalupe Alvarez regarding the toys and tots and any matters incident thereto. Mr. Alvarez?
Guadalupe Alvarez, Marine Corps, for Toys for Tots. This year, the Commandant of the Marine Corps has allowed the Toys for Tots to extend to the whole community for support of all the community. Everybody can be a Santa. All those that are donating for the children. The children is what we're concerned about. Every organization can contribute to the children. The email is toysfortots.org. You can scroll down on how to help. You can scroll down on where the collection boxes are going to be. You can even ask for collection boxes. Any organization can. The 501 organizations get a tax deductible letter from the Toys for Tots for IRS. The way you can donate your time, your service, even the equipment, warehouse spaces, transportation support, even media exposure. It's the donation, and if there's a money value to it, you will get a tax deductible. So Toys for Tots has been expanded to the whole community of Laredo. The way we started it was that a lot of people wanted to share with the children, but we didn't know how. So the Marines took over here in Laredo. The Marine Corps League took it upon themselves to ask the Commandant of the Marine Corps, because it belongs to the Marine Corps Reserve. And only the Marine Corps Reserve, like in San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Harlingen, they were the ones that were authorized. So we asked permission, and he said, it is for the children. If you can help, Marine Corps League can help. So the only thing that we had to do was send somebody to their training. I just got back from the training. The training is in Washington. It's very intensive, and the idea is children, for the children. Like I said, the reserve takes the toys, distributes the toys and the services to the area designated. So if we want the toys for our area, just go to toysfortots.org, and if you make a donation, monetary or service, make sure it says Laredo, for Laredo community. Okay? That's what I wanted to see. Toysfortots.org. Scroll down and it'll give you all the information you need. And this year we're putting it on by the Marine Corps League. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Any comments or questions on this item?
Questions? Crystal?
Ms. Sanchez, go ahead.
My name is Ernesto Sanchez. I want to invite you today because the Council of Mexico has some programs, and he ties and helps us in both countries. Today at Zafarini Hall at TAMIU, we're having a show, and I'm one of the artist that has a part there. It will be at 4 o'clock, and I would like to invite all of you. I do a little bit of art on the side. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Sanchez.
you.
Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I would just like to say to the brothers and sisters in active duty right now that there is a lot of businesses that offer discounts for active and veterans. So take advantage of that. Just ask if visit a business in our community, ask for if there's any discounts for active duty or veterans. Thank you for being here. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to.
It is 12:54.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
We all. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. We kind of forgot about you. Sorry about that. But you were listening anyway. So the motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.